I'm really excited to go deep into this episode today. I always start my teaching journeys with human design with type, strategy, authority, and profile. And if you haven't listened to those episodes, go start there before you move into this one. But when I polled my community this week on what they wanted to hear next on the podcast, it was unanimously human design. And the way I dissect the body graph in human design is, again, type, strategy, authority, profile. That's where you want to start your journey of deconditioning. And then what I believe is the next big area of study and exploration is the energy centers. Now, what are the energy centers? They're those 9 triangles, diamonds, and square shapes that's in the middle of the body graph, similar to chakras. And this is where a lot of where we hold our frequency. It's that nonverbal communication between folks. And you can be a projector or a manifestor or a manifesting generator, but the way that you uniquely flow will heavily be impacted by these energy centers. And when I go deep with my clients who want more than one session, when they really want to go for it all and really understand the inner workings of their unique makeup, the one of the bigger few sessions has to deal with energy centers because they go so incredibly deep, and it's really where the activations happen. It really is how you can understand how to work with your frequency, your energy, your strengths and vulnerabilities, and bring the awareness to why you're reacting to a situation, why something is very obvious for you. And I'm going to go into it. Now, today, I'm going to talk about the energy centers. I'm going to go through the energy centers, but I'm not going to, it would take me hours to go through all the levels of the body graph. So why do you want to go deep with the energy centers? Like I was saying, we've got this meat suit, this auric energy field emanating out of our body, and it is really, helps us shine a light and creates awareness on why we are feeling that way, acting that way, having those instincts come through. And it also, like a lot of self-awareness with any type of modality you're using, you're understanding your community and your friends around you deeper, and you have more empathy. So again, where do we find the energy centers? It's those 9 triangle, diamonds, and square shapes in the middle of the body graph. It is similar to chakras where each center holds a certain frequency, and it is the map of your energy body. So each center has a meaning, a function, a frequency, a personality, and a flow. And this really creates and reveals a person's strengths and vulnerabilities, and so much also deep wisdom that you intuitively have in yourself and understanding the people around you. These energy centers are like maps and porters to your deep soul self. It is how we communicate through these invisible energies, this auric field, this quantum level around us. And it really is the key to how to understand yourself better and deeper. It's what we grapple with. It's our gifts. Energy centers are going to be undefined or open. That's going to be the white shapes. And then defined is going to be the colored centers. So if you look at your chart, you can automatically see what's undefined or open and what's defined. So each center is responsible for carrying and managing a certain frequency of energy and how it relates to a specific theme in your life. Okay. So if you are dealing in defined energy in your chart, specifically with the energy centers, it's all about fixed and consistent energy. You're broadcasting this energy 24/7. It's something that if, as we go through the centers, you might be like, yeah, that's totally me. Like, it's not going to be something that isn't unfamiliar to you. You can think of it as of having like privilege and power, and you know it, and you have access to it, and it's not something that wavers. Now, some of the technicalities for those of you who want to know, 2 gates join to form a channel, and that activates the defined energy center. So those little circles with the numbers when you look at your chart are gates, and when they have the red circle around it, it's activations. It's planetary activations, something I can go to a little deeper on another day. But there is a reason why they are defined in your chart. It's a planetary activation that creates 2 channels, 2 gate activations to then define the energy center. Defined energy centers give us purpose and direction. They give us personality. You know, you have this fixed and consistent energy that radiates out into the world. And this is where you're here to create impact through this consistent fixed energy. Now, undefined or open. Open means there's no gate activations. Undefined means it's white. It might have some gate activations, but not channel activations. So this is all about, you don't have consistent energy, so you have inconsistent energy frequency in these centers. It is where you take on conditioning. Now, remember, with human design, we are conditioned from family, from culture, from peers, from school. So it is where you take on this conditioning. And in human design, we want to decondition. So again, bringing awareness to these centers, whether you're defined and have consistent energy or undefined and you don't have consistent energy, is still bringing an awareness to how you can flow more easeful in your life. This is where if you're influenced by the defined center. So if you're in a room with your friend, you will be picking up that auric energy from that person. And that's how the centers kind of work with each other. So again, awareness is the activation in these centers. You gain insight. It's fluid and flexible energy. The undefined centers really hold a mystery and continually are unfolding and to be discovered. So essentially, this is where you become wise. These are the centers where you can like feel the energy of the person next to you, understand your client a little bit deeper than you thought. It also may be how you're picking up on your coach's frequency to empower you and lift you up. So again, this auric field, and when I start talking about the centers, it'll make a little more sense. But if you think about defined as like even like conscious energy, and undefined, like a little subconscious, a little more nuanced and open to the wisdom. So whereas defined, you have impact because you like hold the pose and you know who you are in this expression. And undefined is you're able to tap into the frequency of the people around you. This is a lot of where like fears come in, lack of value, pressure, thoughts and feelings. And it's a way for you to filter out, taking in the world and sorting through it to figure out what to come out. You know, it's processing the information on what is yours and what is someone else's. This is all about the detached observer, which I like to talk about a lot when I'm talking about the energy centers. It's understanding, and this is like a really simple example, is if you walk into a room and your friend is pissed or unhappy, it's like you can almost like come into that vortex of their energy field. even though you came in really happy, all of a sudden even like your light is dimmed. That's kind of the pulse of the centers. And so if you're a detached observer that's like, I feel great, they're just having a bad day, and you can kind of like reassert your energy field, that's kind of the pulse of the defined versus the undefined centers. Because you really, as an undefined center, take in the energy from the world and amplify it. So again, undefined is your greatest sources of wisdom, defined impact. So it's a little bit different. Now today I'm not going to go too deep in this, but the not self, you'll hear that a lot in human design. It is when you're kind of out of alignment in any aspect of human design, but when we're talking about the energy centers, your not self can take over. It can create fear and doubt and pushing instead of resting and feeling unworthy or not enough or creating resistance. So if you're in that not self energy, that out of alignment energy, bringing back awareness will help you get back into alignment. You know, part of your journey is to be in the not self. You have to discern what is yours and what is others. So the not self just brings that awareness through. Okay, so again, there's 9 energy centers. I'm going to briefly talk about each energy center and then talk about the defined and undefined aspects of it super briefly. There's so much deeper we can go into these, but I just want you to get a starting point into the energy centers, because if you feel really comfortable and you've been practicing type, strategy, authority, and profile and the nuances and the experiment with that, and you're like, I'm ready to go a little deeper, this is where I want you to head. This is where I want you to dive into research and play in. So the head center will start at the top of the body graph. It's all about inspiration, ideas, doubts, and questions. It's a pressure center, so there's awareness centers, pressure centers, motor centers in the human design chart. It's a pressure center. The energy's coming through the head. It's a pressure to comprehend, to think, to make sense of things in the world. It is a powerful source of creativity, and it's the inspiration that activates and stimulates our imagination. So in defined head, you have consistent access to thinking. You have a fixed process of discerning questions and answers. You have a consistent source of inspiration, and your mind doesn't stop thinking. Whereas an undefined head, you have a flexible and fluid way of thinking. You take in and amplify questions, and you don't have this consistent way to receive inspiration, and you're always under pressure to come up with the answers. Now, the head is, again, inspiration, ideas. When we move into the ajna next, it's where we're processing that information that's coming through the head, the inspiration, the creativity. And the ajna is an awareness center. So it's now processing everything, the information and the inspiration and the creativity from the head center. It's all about conceptualizing, organizing information, opinions. It's about mental intelligence. It's like how you're actually going to do the thing. And when define comes in, you're really here to inspire others. You love mental stimulation. You have a strong mental ground. Like, you're not influenced by others. And when you have an undefined head, you do see many more sides of the issue. You can process information in a variety of ways. You're wise about ideas and beliefs. Now, moving down the chart to the throat, this is the manifestation center. This is all about intuition, instincts, and fear. It's expression through the throat, through your voice. It's about taking action through your voice. It's about becoming. It's manifestation through communication. It's about expressing who you are, what you're thinking, creating, and learning through your voice. Now, a defined throat You have consistent access to your voice. You have confidence in expressing yourself. In fact, two of the main reasons that I decided to start a podcast was because A, I'm a self-projected projector, and B, part of the reason I'm a self-projected projector is because I have this definition in my throat energy center, and I knew it was a great way for me to express myself from my vulnerability, from my authenticity. Now, that's not to say if you have an undefined throat that you shouldn't be on a podcast. Your expression on the podcast is going to be different. So I have a very defined sense of communication and what I'm speaking about. An undefined throat is going to be kind of speaking in various ways depending on the audience and the energy that you want to convey. So you might have a more varied podcast flow and you might move into more topics than I might. I mean, it's all a little different and it does depend on energy centers and your auric type and all the things. But if you think about that, so an undefined throat, you feel pressure to speak, but don't always know what to say. However, you can speak in various ways depending on who you are with or your audience. So that is like a little bit like if you think of you're speaking to an audience and the way someone might adjust the way they're setting up their jokes or the way that they're enunciating and moving into different topics is they're going to kind of read the room and they have the wisdom to access that and then speak their truth through their voice. Now, the identity center or the G center is all about direction, sense of self and identity, love and lovability, purpose. It's who you are. It's the seat of the soul. So if you're defined, you really have a solid sense of self. You know who you are and you don't waver. And you're also not easily swayed by others' expectations. You have a steady stream of direction. So you're just like flowing in the direction of what is easeful for you. And you have a consistent access again to your identity and your direction in life. Undefined is a little bit different. You are more open and flexible to who you are. This is like showing up on little different aspects of yourself depending on who you're with. So it's like this chameleon complex. It's like, who are you at work? Who are you when you're with this group of friends or that group of friends or with your partner? You do kind of like take on some of the energy of who you're spending time with. So it's something to be aware of. And you are wise about direction and love because you're always searching. You're always like, what does love mean? What is the direction I should be going? Like, it's just like that wiseness in the undefined. Now, in the heart, ego, and will center, we're talking about willpower, resources, competition, motivation, and empowerment. It's the energy to get things done. It's how you value yourself. It is concerned with the material world. It has this can-do energy. And again, energy to get things done. So a defined will center, you have the capacity to decide and to get the thing done. You highly value yourself and you are here to empower and inspire others that they can do anything. And this is, I want to tell you, I have an undefined heart and I always desire to have it defined because this is the folks who charge their worth and stick to it and don't waver. There is this willpower energy in the heart center is like that proving energy, like I'm going to do it and nothing's going to stop me. Now in the undefined, you don't have consistent access to willpower. You question your value and constantly attempt to prove yourself. But you do have a gift of exploring and discerning what is valuable. So folks with the defined might be like, I need to prove myself to that high school friend that I can do the thing. You're like, I don't have anything to prove other than what I feel is valuable to me. And you don't have consistent energy to get things done because you don't have this competitive nature to like climb to the mountain as the first one there. there is this energy of getting stuck in a cycle of trying to prove yourself in order to feel worthy. So bringing awareness to that, not wavering on your prices, or doing a little more work in the morning to bring up your empowerment and self-awareness are all things here. But there is a little bit of pulse you can see versus defined versus undefined in the heart and ego center. Now sacral, this is all your generators and manifesting generators have this defined, but it's all about your motor center, workforce, life force, energy, productivity, precision. Again, it's the energy to get things done, the ability to take on work, and it's a source of energy and action. So defined, you have a consistent access to energy and life force, and you use it daily, like you expel this energy daily. And then you have energy to sustain your work, especially if you love what you're doing. And that's when we talk about authority with that, like, if you say yes to the thing and you're really lit up, it'll be so easy to do when you have the sacral energy, this energy center to get things done. Now, when it's undefined, this is who's going to have this, I can tell you right now, undefined, it's going to be your manifestors, your projectors, and your reflectors. You're not designed to work in a traditional world. You have this gift of wisdom, manifestors have this gift of initiating, projectors have the gift of guiding, reflectors have the gift of mirroring back to the collective, and this is how you enrich people's lives. You also have the gift of relaxing because you know that in order to be productive, rest is imperative, so it does create healthy boundaries when you have awareness for your undefined center. The other thing is, like, sometimes you don't know when enough is enough. I do this all the time. When I get lit up by a project, I just keep going and then I'm exhausted. Now, my hack for the sacral undefined is to go to a coffee shop for like an hour and tap into the frequency of all your generators and manifesting generators at the coffee shop who have sacral energy for you to tap into to get projects done. So when A, want to change the scenery, and B, want to tap into somebody else's like sacral energy, I love going to like a busy, buzzing coffee shop. All right, moving down the line, we have the solar plexus, or the emotional energy center. This is all about emotions, depth, perception, awareness, and it allows us to gain a sense of emotional clarity and well-being. And emotional energy in this center fluctuates in waves. So if you're defined, you have consistent access to your feelings, but you do feel pressure to make decisions before you're ready. So that's if you think about emotional authority, it's like ride the wave of high and low before you make a decision. Now the wave has a couple different ways that it flows, but the bottom line is sleep on your decisions before you decide. And you can be emotional, so take responsibility for your emotions as a defined emotional energy center. Now, undefined, this is where we learn to discern and filter out the emotions of others. We have a gift of being unemotional. We are highly empathetic and have the ability to deeply feel what others are experiencing. This is what I was talking a little bit earlier. Like if you're going to work and your coworker's in a bad mood, it's like you almost like already know without barely being in the room with them. But it is about being the objective observer. It is about being the objective observer to know which emotions are yours and which emotions are theirs, and remember and have the awareness to tap into self. A hack for this, if you're taking on the energy of somebody else's high emotions, is to simply exit the room, whether it be going to the bathroom, going in another room, and just kind of like resetting yourself in your own energy and your own emotions. Now, the splenic center It's an awareness center. It's all about survival and vitality. It's that primal instincts and intuition, body awareness. It deals with our fears. It deals with our immune system. It's those primal fears for our survival and well-being. And it's a moment by moment awareness. So if you're defined, you consistently tap into your intuition. Your 5 senses keep you alert and aware in the now. You have a strong immune system. And I want to remind you, and the splenic center kind of relates to your splenic authority in the sense of like, when you get that quiet hit of intuition, honor it. Make a note of it, because when it gets to your brain, you start processing through and kind of talking yourself out of that quiet, intuitive, primal awareness that your body wants to tell you. Now, if you're undefined, you are wise to what is healthy for others. You're incredibly intuitive. You're a deep, wise healer. You can identify with fear without letting it take over. You do have a more of a sensitive immune system. You have the ability to take in and amplify everyone else's fears. So that's where we're moving into like, you can tell when someone maybe is in deep fear and you want to amplify it, but that's the detached observer again being like, I'm not having any fear. My intuition is okay. They're in fear, and kind of like stepping back and holding your energy field. Another thing with this center is that you tend to hold on to jobs and relationships too long. Something to think about. We're going to end up on the root center, which is a motor and a pressure center. It's all about drive, ambition, energy, stress, adrenaline. It's like that pressure and stress to get things done. And if you have a defined center, a root center, you have consistent access to your drive and an innate ability to take action. You can handle pressure and use it wisely. I love this example. Your to-do list doesn't control you. You take action when you're ready. And there's this pulsating energy where like, okay, I'm ready to do the thing, and you just get it done. You have this like pressure energy is very controlled for you and consistent, whereas undefined, you have trouble starting things. You can get a lot done, but it's coming from an extreme amount of pressure. And like, this is the example, like I have an open root center and my to-do list will sit heavy on my shoulders every day. And I just like want to get it done. I want to get it done. I want to get it done. I want to get it done. And I always tap into my awareness and I'm like, projector, is it better for you to rest or is it better for you to get the to-do list done? Because you can burn out by constantly attempting to check off that to-do list. So just recognize that and understand it. That was a lot. This was a longer episode. I really touched super briefly on the energy centers. All the energy centers in general should be distilled through your strategy and authority. So they should be distilled through the energy of a manifestor or a projector or a reflector. Like, are you responding? Are you waiting? Are you mirroring? Like, what is it? Are you talking it out? Are you listening to your sacral? Are you riding the wave? Like, strategy and authority, type strategy and authority, type strategy and authority, right? There is so much activation in the energy centers. It's something that I love to go through with my clients. There's gate activations, there's hanging gates, there's channels, there's planetary activations. There's how like your gates and channels and energy centers like match up and connect with your partner or your business partner or your best friend. These are all things I go deeper with my clients. But what I wanted you to get today is starting exploring deeper into your energy centers and the impact that they have on others and yourself. If you're ever wanting to get a session with me, we can go over the basics. We can go deeper into the energy centers. We can go into the variables. I am currently taking clients right now for one-to-ones. We can make it a one session. You can bundle and do multiple sessions, something to talk about. If you're curious, I'll put a link to that offering in the show notes. And I hope you all are having a beautiful day.